Let's get it on!
Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. Alongside, as always, is my brother, Sean Ducross. We are the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors, live right here on Sportscaster. Cross that line. Thank you guys for tuning in to us tonight. We have an incredible show for you guys. So, Bellator 245, 246 is upon us. Back-to-back nights. Then we also got the breakdown of the nasty fight dispute, whatever you want to call it, between Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo and Dazn and everybody in between. So we're going to be talking about that in the second half of the show. But up first, Bellator 245. Sean, Bellator back-to-back nights, 245, 246. And what seems to be interesting about this is the fact that the second night seems a little bit more intriguing to me than the first night.
See, and when you're talking about the first night, the second night, you're talking about a great week of fights for that matter because you got Bellator and UFC both going on. But you're talking about Bellator 246, and you're more interested in that, while I'm more interested about what's going on 245.
Why is that?
Because as you said in our little thumbnail that you created,
Yes.
is aging trees. Well, how much legs does Lyoto Machida still have? How much does he still have in the tank for a 42-year-old?
This is very true.
So I'm more interested in that one and happy that they threw that one before 246. But they ran these two cards back to back because it's the last fight cards
At Mohegan.
Mohegan Sun.
Yep.
Before they go to Dublin. So you had to go out with a bang, and this is quite frankly two of their best cards that they put out right now.
Yeah, after the abysmal last one that they had.
Yeah. You put out this one on 245. You have Lyoto Machida versus Phil Davis. You have the returning and debuting
Kat
Zingano, who will make her debut at featherweight. Not to mention that Rafael Carvalho is back.
Dude, but he's on the prelims.
He's got to work his way back up, Tristan. When the guy has fallen on hard times.
When I was looking at this card, right, and knew that we were going to preview this card, I looked at the top of the food chain, right? And I saw Phil Davis' side, Lyoto Machida, right? Both of those fighters, this is number two. The first time they met was in the UFC, okay? Yeah. So here we are, a little bit older, a little bit wiser if you want to go there. Lyoto Machida, 42 years old. You're looking at Phil Davis, who's also in his mid-30s now. Kat Zingano, 38. And I'm looking at those major players, right? Those are huge names. But I see Ed Ruth on this card versus Taylor Johnson. I see Raymond Daniels. I can understand why you have Carvalho on the prelims because Raymond Daniels is a human highlight reel waiting to happen like every time he goes out there and fight now that he's not in Glory Kickboxing, right? But then you also have Jack May versus Tyrell Fortune. And we have seen Jack May fight, right, on multiple times. And this will be an interesting fight because many people look at Tyrell and you're thinking that this is going to be an easy win. But Jack May is a well-known fighter that has continued to just basically, in my eyes, just wants his due. He's been around this fight game for a long time.
That's the thing. It's like when I saw Jack May on this card, I was like, man, dude, that's a guy that's been around the block a while. Like, you know who Jack May is.
And you know what you're getting from
him. It's like Tony Lopez being around the fight game for a while. You know who they are. And when you look at this, when you look at everything, and you're right, you're looking at this and go, well, you know what's up is that you've got all these legit guys that are on this fight card, and you named Ed Ruth, Raymond Daniels, Tyrell Fortune. That's why you make this a going home weekend for Bellator. Because you throw all your eggs into one basket and said, let's go home, boys.
Is it
Let's
weird?
put on a show for Dublin. But you look at the main event, and you look at Machida, and you look at Davis, okay? Since Machida has shown up in Bellator, he's fought who's who of who.
Yes. But he's
gone through murderous row in the light heavyweight division of Bellator.
Up and down, right? Kind of in Bellator ranks.
But that's because, like I said, he's ran through murderous row. He came over from the UFC.
You knew what you're getting out of him because of his name and his pedigree, right?
Yeah.
So you weren't going to throw him into lesser waters. You're going to throw him into shark-infested waters.
Correct.
Because this is a veteran, a savvy veteran, and a guy that has had wins underneath his belt. So throwing him against a Mousasi, throwing him out there, I get it. But going against Phil Davis, who has single-handedly kind of like changed his game, right? Going into Bellator. No longer this huggy bear, right? In wrestling, this Penn State grinder. Not going to be that guy anymore, Sean.
No.
In Bellator, it's all of a sudden a light switch turned on him and said that if I'm going to be the best light heavyweight, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to put everything out on the table. I'm going to put all the chips in. And this is what he's done in Bellator.
Yeah, absolutely.
And beating Lito Machida, Sean, is going to keep his name right there at the top of the food chain in the light heavyweight division.
And that was going to be my question next, is that if Phil Davis is able to knock off Lito Machida, is he in line to get his redemption fight against Nemkov?
Hey, you were looking at Ryan Bader no longer in the top of the light heavyweight division, losing to Nemkov.
But Phil Davis has a loss against Ryan Nemkov.
Correct.
I mean, not Ryan Nemkov, but against Nemkov.
Yes. But wouldn't you love to see that fight now? Because Nemkov beat Ryan Bader. Almost like a redemption or a interesting matchup now to see where Nemkov is and where Phil Davis could possibly be.
Yeah, there's possible intrigue. Just like you're talking again, what's left in the tank. We also can't forget that Machida's been out.
Oh yeah, for a while. And you look at the fact is that does he have rust? He's 42 years old. How much more in the tank does he have? It's a little bit harder to get out of bed now.
So you're looking against a guy like Davis, who's on the upside of 35, if you will. Not a guy on a downside.
Right there, kind of starting to hit his stride.
Yeah, but you talk about seeing Phil Davis being a much different fighter in Bellator. But why do I have a feeling that he's going to go old school?
Right?
And by that I mean is I think we're going to see him try to get this fight to the ground. I think that this fight is going to go to the ground because he's not going to want to worry about the angles or which way a kick's coming from or anything like that from Machida. He's going to want to keep this fight close to the vest and get the fight to the ground. So I think that's what we're going to see. It's going to be an interesting night of fights, that's for sure. Just like on 246. 246, a couple years ago, we had the pleasure of covering a local, well, not a local kid, but a rising star.
Actually, both of them, if you did it all the way back a little bit. Juan Archuleta and Patchy Mix.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Patchy Mix the first time.
Yeah, at Harris.
At Harris Casino, and I thought this guy was a major player.
Yeah.
Something about him was going to transcend the game.
Yeah, he just oozed the next level of it. And you're like, wow, this kid has it. And then he's gone on into Bellator, just seemingly run through everybody.
And not too many people in amateur sports can honestly say that they have the it factor because there's some that have been fed and groomed and grown, right?
Yeah.
But something about Patchy has always been that this kid didn't care about his foes who was in front of him, knew where he was going to go, and how he was going to become the best fighter, period, right?
Yep.
That was always his mentality. He gets that opportunity at 246 against Juan Archuleta, who strung off a crazy 18-0 at one point, Sean. 18 wins. Like, my immediate reaction when I saw Archuleta was, here's your Goldberg.
Right.
There was this guy that had this big Godzilla-like atmosphere around him, which was Juan Archuleta. This guy was built from King of the Cage. This guy was basically King of the Cage's WCW's Bill Goldberg. They saw something in this kid and just strapped a rocket to him and sent him to the moon. When he showed up at Bellator, my immediate reaction was, oh my God. I could see the writing on the wall that his first loss was coming. Because he got the first win underneath his belt, gets a pit bull brother, gets his first loss. This will be the test for him now to see where his mindset is, because he's the one that has, unlike every other fighter in this game, Sean, he is one that vows that he will fight no matter what.
The guy wants to fight 6 times a year.
There you go. He's a guy that doesn't care, that wants to be a world champ, that wants to fight as much as possible.
He's Bellator's Donald Cerrone.
Yeah.
Stand and bang, wants to throw down with the best of them. And that's the type of mentality that he brings to this fight game. And when you look at that, and you look at Patchy Mix, who we talked about has figured out what it is to be a professional and what it is to be like a boa constrictor. He reminds me of another young variation of Damian Maia.
Yes. His grappling is what I classify as an art form.
It is. Like, as soon as he grapples and he sinks his hooks in or whatever else he has in mind for that fight, if he imposes his will, he's going to get his way. What I like about this is that Mix doesn't care who's in front of him.
No.
He wants that bantamweight title. And if it's just another name to him on that contract, he's going to get it. I feel that this will be no different.
And if I remember correctly, his favorite choice weapon on the ground is the rear naked choke. I don't believe this fight will stand. I'm going with Patchy on this one.
Yeah, I mean, easy. I got Mix winning.
And new bantamweight champion will be Patchy Mix.
For sure. And then good luck trying to take the title away from this kid.
And then again, talk about age, right? Aging trees. So we got Patchy Mix versus Juan Archuleta, the kids, right? The hungry kids.
The lions.
The young lions that will take Bellator to higher heights, right?
Like AJ McKee.
Yep. And then all of a sudden you have the guy that's been around the block, right?
The aging veteran.
Yes. Do you know who I'm talking about?
The crafty one.
The one that doesn't care about you and I, the one that doesn't care about the fans, the one doesn't care about putting on the highlight reel fights. You know who I'm talking about? That's on this card? The old man, John Fitch. He kind of turned back that clock enough in Bellator to get people back talking about this man. And he's going against a Gracie. The one guy that has single-handedly told the world that he was going to bring the Gracie name back on the map. After starting 8-0, Neiman Gracie suffered his first loss. For his bounce-back fight, he gets the man, John Fitch.
You know, when I saw this, I was like, my only note about this fight was ground versus ground.
It's not going to be a pretty fight. So if you are thinking this is going to be...
It's who's going to make who uncomfortable.
Yes.
And for how long.
Think about a grappling match.
Thank goodness there are no fans.
Right.
Because people would be booing.
Social media is going to have a field day.
Oh, yeah.
With this fight.
All the media outlets is going to have a field day for whichever way this comes from.
If you thought Kamaru Usman's game plan was boring against Jorge Masvidal, you are going to think this is the worst fight known to man. You are going to pull up a pillow, pray that you don't fall asleep, because this is going to be like as if you're taking an Ambien and you're done for the day. There was no way this fight is going to be exciting. So just accept it for what it is.
Unless Neiman Gracie pulls out a submission from his back. That'll be dope.
Pull a submission, a crazy submission that you probably never seen, and you'd be like, that ended in like 5 seconds. That'd be amazing.
That'll get everybody switched up.
Right, but if this comes out and it's a filler out kind of fight, right?
Yeah.
It will play in the hands of John Fitch's game plan. This guy does not deter from his game plan. Once he has a game plan in his head,
it is what it is.
That is what it is. He's not going to look at the fighter in front of him and change and alter his game plan. He's not. So if he thinks that he's going to wrestle this guy and take him to the ground, grind it out, and get the win that way, he's going to stay with that game plan no matter what. Yeah. Win, lose, or draw. That's his game plan. That's how he's going to fight, right?
Yep. And for me, I believe that John Finch is just too strong.
You think so?
I think Finch is just too strong. I think he's going to impose his will and give Gracie another setback and trying to figure out that he's not on the elite level of the grapplers. He's a great technician when it comes to jiu-jitsu, but as form of grappling, whether it be wrestling or whatever it may be, I just don't think he has the it to knock off Fitch.
So you think he suffers a back-to-back losses?
Yes, I think there's going to be a setback, and it's going to be a while again before we see Neiman Gracie. I feel that. I think Fitch is just too much. No matter you talk about the old dog in the fight. You talk about what exactly do you have left in the tank? John Fitch is your crafty veteran. We've said it already once. Talking about Fitch. He loves to do whatever he wants. Doesn't care about what anybody thinks of him in that cage.
He loves to control the game.
He doesn't care to him if it's boring. To him, it's about winning. It's about his hand getting raised at the end of the line.
At the end of the day, how can you get the W? That's what it's all about.
Yes, and that's
getting your hand raised at the end of the day.
And that's what I told you about Usman and his win. And everybody said, "Oh, that was boring." Nah, bro. That was just simply him doing his game plan, and you couldn't knock him out of his game plan. Mixed martial arts is all, or MMA is all about
strategy.
Imposing your strategy and keeping it in your game plan, and that's how you win fights. You don't win fights by going out there and being reckless.
The fans that say that, oh, that fight's boring is the fans that don't necessarily understand mixed martial arts. That's the way I see it.
Well, not necessarily mixed martial arts, not understanding
the fight game,
the competitiveness in a fight game.
Yeah.
They expect that if you're a fighter, you come out at guns blazing and you're putting on a show for the fans. Oh my God. But that's not the case. The case is at the end of the line of how you get your hand raised. It's not about, ooh, did I land this exciting kick? Did I knock out this opponent here? No. It's about my hand raised. It's about that number one in that column that has the W. It's about at the end of the line.
That check mark.
It's about at the end of the line.
Next to your name.
How many W's do you have that gets you to the end of the line, which is the title shot? It's not about how fancy your knockouts got. Sure, that helps a little bit in your W column. But at the end of the day, all it is just
wins
a
and losses.
highlight reel.
Wins and losses, they matter.
Doesn't matter how you get them.
Right?
You're here to win, aren't you?
Get that check mark next to your name.
And I think that's what Fitch is going to do.
Yes. What about the Liz Carmouche debut?
I was torn on this one because
She's facing another girl from the UFC.
So Liz
coming
Carmouche
over.
is with our buddy Charles Martinez for this one.
Yep.
And
Second time.
in the corner. I've got to root for Liz Carmouche. Liz Carmouche, from this January, we've had this pleasure of talking to her multiple times. And we love Charles Martinez and his group over at Arena. They do a fantastic job over there. And I think it's about time that Liz Carmouche gets back on the right track. Not to take anything away from Deanna Bennett. I just don't see her having enough to defeat the grappling.
The caliber fighter here, again, kind of what we talked about on the last Bellator card. Remember with who was the girl that just fought that originally lost to Cyborg?
Julia Budd.
Okay. So just like we needed to see a fight for Julia Budd to kind of get her wits back, right?
See, and I don't want to say that about that. That's the type of fight that Deanna Bennett is, because Deanna Bennett put up a good resume, a strong resume in Invicta.
Hey,
so she has a strong pedigree and is a variable, capable opponent for Liz Carmouche, way much more than the girl that freaking...
And I'm good with that. I'm good with the resume. But I'm just thinking about the caliber.
No.
The caliber of fights.
No. You cannot even compare it to the chick that Julia Budd fought. That was a 100% gimme. This is not a 100% gimme. No twist, no which way.
So who are you favoring here? Give me your honest to pick.
I'm going Liz Carmouche. I still think that she's too strong for Deanna Bennett.
I think Liz needs to be the bully.
And I think she's going to be the bully.
Get this fight to the ground, make it dirty and grimy. And as your favorite word with grapplers, make it uncomfortable. This is the way Liz needs to win. And she needs to forget the stand-up, right?
Yes.
Just forget that stand-up game. You need to get W's next to your name. By doing that, you need to get this fight to the ground, right?
For sure.
That's the way this fight needs to go for Liz Carmouche. Charles Martinez, hopefully, from the last fight of Liz, understands that coming into this fight, that's the way this fight needs to go, Sean. Get that W next to your name. Move on. Push forward. That's what you need to do. But that's what we're going to do here in just a second. Going to a break. Coming out strong.
It's time to light up the internet.
As we turn up a little bit.
Time to light it up.
And we're going to light up the internet. We've been telling y'all you need to listen to us. Because we broke this down a couple months back. And we were telling people that something just wasn't right. And the more we kept digging, and the more we put on our journalist hat, we kept finding out certain things. Well, so did Canelo. Canelo Alvarez talk coming up next with your boys, Sean and Tristan Ducross, the Sports Warriors. Cross the line with us. Go to iloveanti.com for all of your CBD needs. Thank you for sponsoring our show. Use promo code DucrossBros. Get 10% off of your purchases.
If you like what you're hearing and you want to support us, just hit that donate button.
Yes, hit that donate button. Show us some love. Keep us going on Sportscaster. Loving this new platform. Thank you to everybody that's tuning into us right now. We'll be right back after this short break. We are the Ducross Brothers, the Sports Warriors, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sportscaster. You want a new breed of combat sports talk show? We are your show. Cross that line And join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about all the latest headlines in combat sports, from boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, you name it, professional wrestling. We got you covered right here. Sean and Tristan across the Sports Warriors. Join us Wednesdays. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to us. Couple shout outs. Okay, couple shout outs. Auntie, right above my head. All your CBD needs, from CBD oils, CBD rub, CBD lip balm, got you covered on every front. I use the textures. I use the drops, the oils. My brother uses the CBD rub and loves it. Go to iloveanti.com, use promo code TheDuCrossBros, and save 10% off of your purchase. You can go to our Facebook, facebook.com/TheDuCrossBros. Get a subscription break on ESPN Plus right here. Appreciate the love and respect to everybody that's tuning in to us every Wednesday right here on Sportscaster. In the meantime, go ahead, press that donate button, show your love and respect for your boys as we keep crossing that line. As our tagline says, new breed of combat sports talk show like no other. You ain't going to hear anybody like us on the internet.
And before we get into the big topic here at hand,
Right.
last week's show, we let everybody know to us on Sportscaster that we do not attack anybody unless it is provoked or warranted and they put it out there for social media gain. If they put it out there for a social media game and it's subject to public knowledge,
Yep.
we will speak on it and give us our honest opinions about our thoughts. Now you're about to get it. So, about a month ago, I would say, we talked about the Ryan Garcia versus Oscar De La Hoya disaster.
And we dropped a little bit of inside knowledge on money issues with Dazn and Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia. That also provided us insight on other fighters having other issues with Dazn. Okay? So with that being said, it is common knowledge now that Canelo Alvarez, the best boxer in the world, is suing Dazn and suing Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions. There are, 9, 10 class actions lawsuits. 10. In the affidavit that I have read today, there are 10. One notably that come popping out was that there's one that's in there that was fraud. And what that means is that what we found out is, get this, okay?
So before we get any deeper,
Right?
you want to preview how we got here.
You can.
So, there's been an ongoing beef between Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya prior to the situation that happened yesterday.
Yes.
We talked about Ryan Garcia. So we'll set the stage of multiple issues with Oscar De La Hoya. Okay? So let's set the stage. Oscar De La Hoya has had a run-in with the law, whether it would be accused of sexual assault. Oscar De La Hoya has been an alcoholic, a drunk, has been in rehab countless of times.
Mr. Fishnets.
Public knowledge. All public knowledge. Okay? Not us.
We're not telling you you guys should already know this.
Public knowledge. public knowledge. Oscar De La Hoya and the Golden Boy Promotions MMA event disaster. Underpaying multiple fighters or not paying multiple fighters, among other shenanigans. The laundry list is long. The issues start to compile. Ryan Garcia's issues with Oscar De La Hoya, and I got to set the stage for this one because you'll hear something eerily similar in a few minutes about Canelo.
Before you get into that, you're talking about Ryan Garcia.
Yes.
So going back to the first issue with Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya and Dazn, okay? Ryan Garcia versus Oscar De La Hoya. This I'm talking about the second time that these two matched up.
But talk about the first time though. That you can't forget about the first time.
No.
The first issue with Ryan Garcia. If you're gonna set the stage, we're gonna start at the beginning. Ryan Garcia's first issue with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions started because of the fact that, and this will play into the Canelo situation, is that Ryan Garcia showed up in Ontario or Corona, one of the two, for a fight against Avery Sparrow.
Yes.
Where Avery Sparrow was arrested and had a warrant out for his arrest, but Ryan Garcia showed up to the weigh-ins and was never told that Avery Sparrow had a warrant out for his arrest, which then prompted him to look like a fool on the stage because he was weighing in. Sparrow wasn't there.
And nobody told him.
Then it prompted Golden Boy to say that, no, Ryan Garcia knew the whole time. Ryan Garcia said, no, I didn't. You never divulged that information. Issue number one.
So there's the underlying lying part between Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya.
Exactly.
Fast forward to Oscar De La Hoya versus Ryan Garcia 2.
Now you can set the stage for incident number 2.
Garcia was scheduled to fight July 4th. He was offered $200,000 to fight an unknown opponent. Unknown opponent. Other fighters are making more than him, wanted his pay. Don't blame the kid, right? Makes more money on social media than he does at this point.
Come on now.
Okay?
Come on now.
Was never asking for a $100 million payout. What he was also asking for was his worth. Because he makes more on social media, wanted around the same pay, which is roughly about $500,000. The Zone Golden Boy promotes him, makes money off of him, but he isn't making any money.
Because of the licensing agreement.
Right.
Remember that.
Remember the licensing agreement. So here's an unknown opponent that he has no idea.
Hold on. So far, remember, license agreement, untold information. Okay, that's 2. Keep going.
2 other fighters, part of the Zone, and De La Hoya and Golden Boy, was paid. Ryan Garcia was paid $250K against Fonseca, $250K against Romero Dunno. When before his multi-fight deal was told that he would be making, wants close to $500,000. That's what a number that was given to him by Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya.
In his contract.
Right. They then said that they never told him that because he has not faced a top 10 guy. The Zone says, well, we can't really afford that because we are on a limited budget.
Remember that. So now they want to cut his purse
to $50K. So the Zone has money problems.
Issue number 3
says that we cannot pay you $500,000, despite what your bosses or your promoters are saying.
Let's see if we can get to the 10 counts of breach of contract that Canelo's going. We're at 3. We're at 3 on just Ryan Garcia.
And this isn't the only fight that fell through due to the Zone. The Zone executives asked both fighters, Regis Rodriguez versus Maurice Hooker, to accept a lower compensation packages because they couldn't pay them. They have over 2,700 people furloughed. Okay? That's Ryan Garcia's saga right there. How many issues did we get to with Ryan Garcia, Golden Boy, and DAZN? 3?
Yeah.
4?
3. So, and let me add to that. So not only did they want to give Ryan Garcia a pay cut, they were talking about pushing the fight back in September of him coming back. Well, there was talk about Canelo coming back in September. That didn't happen either. So you're talking about Golden Boy's notorious issues with their fighters. Now let's go here. Let me really educate you, because I was mind blown by this. Mind blown. Because you don't know. I didn't know. These people probably didn't know. Did you know that Golden Boy had the absolute best stable of fighters in all of boxing? They had Danny Garcia.
Yep.
They had Keith Thurman. They had Andre Berto. They had Sean Porter. Oh, and wait, they had Deontay Wilder. But wait, they're no longer with Golden Boy.
Wonder
why.
why.
Are they not with Golden Boy anymore? Well, if you have two sides of the spectrum, around this time frame, Oscar De La Hoya was doing business with Al Heyman. And when he was doing business with Al Heyman, he was doing things on a fight by fight basis for Golden Boy Promotions, which caused issues with Richard Schaefer, who was the CEO at the time of Golden Boy Promotions, that they had a falling out, Oscar De La Hoya and Richard Schaefer, because of the fact that Richard Schaefer didn't want to do business with Al Heyman's men because they were not signed to legitimate contracts underneath Golden Boy Promotions. He was tired of it going case by case. So there became tension and friction where then they were suing each other, but didn't sue each other, and then put a lengthy contract on him about non-compete and all this other stuff like that. But without Richard Schaefer, there was no Golden Boy Promotions, because it wasn't Oscar De La Hoya that got the HBO deal. It was Richard Schaefer. It wasn't Oscar De La Hoya who then got the Showtime deal. It was Richard Schaefer. But they tried to spin it and put blame on Richard Schaefer, saying that Richard Schaefer was laundering money from Golden Boy Promotions. That was part of the alleged issue between the two, because he was taking money off the bottom, I guess you could say. That was phase one of many multiple inside issues with Golden Boy Promotions. Then you transition over to Canelo. And again, we talk about the issue at hand at the beginning. The sneakiness of Golden Boy not divulging all the information.
Kind of the underhanding deals that they have.
So, in the contract, apparently of Canelo, it was deemed that DAZN has right of first refusal? Right of first refusal of who he elects as his opponent. Wait. What?
Explain to me.
So
Sean, hold on.
Canelo
Hold on.
trusted Golden Boy.
Right. Explain to me how a streaming platform like DAZN and Golden Boy have multiple contracts that vary. You have a Canelo Alvarez contract and a DAZN Golden Boy contract for Canelo, which, if you read in the affidavit, are two completely separate entities and two completely different
Well, yes
contracts.
and no, because the way that I read it was that The deal that he signed with Golden Boy and Dazn is that Golden Boy is essentially his promoter.
Right.
So it makes the deal look separate. But the deal's not really separate.
It's labeled in the affidavit as Canelo Alvarez's contract and a DAZN Golden Boy contract.
Licensing agreement.
Right. Which is $40 million that, again, DAZN said we cannot pay you $40 million in the licensing fee. We're going to give you a fraction of that. And then, also, between DAZN and Golden Boy, your $35 million fight that you're supposed to get, we're only going to give you $17 million for that.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to pay it in cash and give you stock shares before they went public.
Before they put out an IPO.
But wait, you still can't pay all the $40 million. Then they went ahead and they asked, and they, meaning Golden Boy and Canelo, went to DAZN and tried to see if they could get a confirmed offer about what DAZN was willing to do. They couldn't even give them the offer. They couldn't even give them a rebuttal. They couldn't give them information.
And the fact that Canelo was even willing to sit at the table and engage in a conversation with two people that are having two completely different stories about the prolific fighter in Canelo Alvarez.
The thing that's so weird is like, okay, so you really got to decipher this, okay? Because right now we're talking about it's Golden Boy and Canelo versus DAZN. But then in a little bit, we'll get to the fact that it becomes now Canelo versus Golden Boy. So you look at two parties are together in a united front against one party and the divided the very next.
Only because when you start saying that in a contract you were owed $35 million for the next 10 fights, there is no wiggle room. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? You are told before the pandemic hit, May 5th, September, you were going to have fights. You were going to get your $35 million. Is it honestly Canelo's fault that the pandemic happened? Answer yes or no.
No, it's not.
Is it his fault? Is it his fault that you cannot get a gate because there is no fans? Is it his fault?
No.
So why is it his problem that he should take a pay cut that on the dotted line you signed the biggest contract in boxing history? You did that. You guaranteed. Again, we all know about guaranteed money, right? In every sport, you have a guaranteed contract.
Yes.
You have a guaranteed money up front allotted. That's it. You signed it. That money is guaranteed, locked down. You can't waver from it. That's what you're going to pay.
So when you guarantee the fact that Canelo's supposed to make $35 million
for the next 10 fights,
and he can't get a fight because you don't like who he's electing to fight? Come on now. He was supposed to fight in September.
Says in their
he was supposed to fight in September and in December. So that $35 million that he was supposed to make on those two fights, they're not there. You're taking money off of his table now.
100%.
So for that, it's like, how dare you go that far? I'm giving you capable opponents to compete against, to make money, and you want to pay me less, and you want to have first right of refusal for who I pick because it's not Gennady Golovkin?
I was just going to say that. In the zones with Golden Boy, that
they would have a third fight with Triple G.
But yet, according to Canelo, that was never written in his version of the contract or discussed.
Because if it was discussed, Canelo would have said, we would have revisited the contract. So Canelo trusted Golden Boy to have his best interest in his contract, did not look into the contract.
And we have another underlining deal between two entities that did not involve the fighter.
So a deal with Ryan Garcia, to go back to phase one where we set the tone for, where it was when this whole situation came out, it's like, oh, who do you blame? Who do you blame? Blah, blah, blah. Well, we let you know what side we were on then. Now, doesn't this make that whole Ryan Garcia issue look very, very familiar and make it even more authentic about what is transpiring at Golden Boy and the shadiness that is being done to its own personnel? This is not how business is supposed to be ran. This is not what you're supposed to be doing to the top of echelon of your fighters and Dazn. No wonder why Pat McAfee left.
He's on Mad Dog Radio.
Because he probably heard something that he didn't like and figured, I'll just bet on myself. And he bet on himself greatly. But you look at this too. So you look at that, and then the fact that another underlying issue is that Canelo actually lost his IBF title, not because he was stripped by the IBF, yes, but he was stripped because of the fact that he was not given the correct timeline by Golden Boy of when a meeting needed to happen with the mandatory IBF mandate.
And it's funny.
So he was left to be hung out to dry by Golden Boy,
who's supposed to be his promoter.
Right.
And the funny thing is that I remember when that happened, and we were discussing this, Sean, no media outlet picked up that story about why he was stripped of his title. Nobody discussed it.
Oh, and now we're being told Golden Boy's headquarters is shut down as well. Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all. This
when
is
you're
a big,
hemorrhaging,
giant cluster.
Sean, when you're hemorrhaging blood and you can no longer put gauze on it to stop the wound, and it's now coming out of you by the pints, there is no way that you're going to be able to plug up a hole.
No.
Without surgery.
It's like you're right now sitting in a canoe or a kayak in the middle
with
of
the
a
hole,
river. And
all of a sudden the water's coming up through the boat.
Yeah.
And you're trying to plug it with your little toes or your fingers.
Yes, and you're losing.
Can't do it.
And you don't have enough fingers. You don't have enough toes to plug
all the holes. Nope.
Of the drowning boat or kayak or canoe, whatever it is. You do not have the amount of toes and fingers to plug those holes.
But it's funny because and again, I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I will just a little bit. Because we were the ones that pulled back the curtain a little bit
about Golden Boy.
Okay? Because it even stems from when they crossed over to the MMA side, right?
Yeah.
We peeled back the curtain a little bit. We let people inside of Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya's situation. You can go ahead, tweet this out, spam it, whatever you want to do. The fact is, we were the ones that were 100% transparent and are not afraid of touching the root of a subject that might be too controversial or too touchy for certain people. But here with the Ducross Brothers, the Sports Warriors, exactly what our freaking tagline says. Cross that line. Every fighter that toes that line inside that cage, every fighter that steps inside that cage and that door locks, or you get between the ropes inside that squared circle, you do it for the fans. You deserve the respect. You signed those contracts because this is the sport you love. And if you're going to get done wrong, and you're going to get dragged through the mud, I think we owe it to the world to know what is actually going on.
And then then here on the last note of this discussion that we have with Golden Boy is the fact that I'll end this on this other note about how now Canelo versus Golden Boy happened. Canelo asked Golden Boy to find a broadcasting deal that will allow him to get his $35 million, come up with an alternative plan. Golden Boy refused to come up with an alternative plan.
And they said that he had to
get him his money.
And they said he had to take a pay cut. If you wanted an outside deal, you were not going to get the $35 million that you wanted for a fight. So again,
I can't. This is just no.
How do you sign a guy to the biggest contract in combat sports? You have what, $286 million left?
$280 million is what's
left on the contract. And you can no longer feel the obligation. And I don't care, man, if it's about the pandemic. I do not care. The fact is that he did not put himself right. The fighter did not put himself in this predicament, okay? This pandemic happened, regardless if you, me, my brother, anybody that likes it or not. The pandemic happened. It's not the fighter's fault. Just like the people that were furloughed at my job or let go, it was not their fault. It was the pandemic's fault. That's why I was able to bring them all back on board, because it was not their fault that they were furloughed. It was not their fault that they were let go. It was not their fault. This is not Canelo's fault for why you cannot pay him. You made the deal. You honor it.
So the fact is that, and the interesting thing in the affidavit, the very last thing he says is he wants a trial by jury. Let that marinate. Trial by jury.
I don't blame the guy. I don't. But we're the Ducross Brothers. We're the Sports Warriors. We're going to come back out, wrap up the show. In the meantime, hit that donate button. Show your love for your brothers. Go to iloveanti.com for all your CBD needs. Use promo code DucrossBros. Go to facebook.com/the Ducross Bros. Get a break in your subscription for ESPN Plus. It's pinned at the top. You'll enjoy it. In the meantime, sit tight. Buckle up. We're ending the show on a high note. You don't want to miss out on this.
Are we gonna end on a high note?
I don't know. We got a two-time heavyweight champion that has decided that he's coming out of retirement. We got All Out and still the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
UFC on ESPN Plus 35. And do you know who the main event is that one and how that even happened?
Nope.
Because I don't think a lot of people do. But I'll let the world in.
Yes. More with the Cross Brothers right after this to wrap up the show.
Yo, fight fans, this is the Ducross Brothers. We are here every Wednesday night on Sportscaster at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're looking for an alternative combat sports talk show? We are that cup of tea. All you got to do is follow us right here on Sportscaster and check us out every Wednesday. We talk about mixed martial arts, boxing, wrestling, you name it. If it's a topic in the combat world, we're going to talk about it.
Welcome back. Tristan Ducross, Sean Ducross. We're the Ducross Brothers. Cross that line every Wednesday with your boys. Hit that donate button. Pass the popcorn. Show your boys some love right here on Sportscaster.
So just because of the fact that I want to touch on it, and then we can go talking about your another 50-year-old attempting a comeback. But
he's not even going as a heavyweight.
But is that UFC on ESPN Plus 35 got a new main event?
Bumped to the main event.
And it is Michelle Waterson
versus Angela Hill.
Do y'all know what the true story, how this fight even happened? Go ahead, I'll wait. Tristan?
No.
Fight book? You guys know? Because it's very entertaining to me how this fight happened.
Was it a dancing contest on social media?
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. It really wasn't. When I saw this fight was announced, I was like, whoo, I don't know why this one got announced. Yeah, they do hate each other, but do you know why they hate each other right now? So you got phase one of it. They do hate each other, but the reason why they hate each other is freaking priceless. I guess you could say it's partly racism. So it's like playing hot and cold right now. Fight book, you're trending on the right way. You're warm. So what happened was, you had Michelle Waterson who posted something on Instagram, about Donald Trump, which then prompted Angela Hill to make a comment towards Michelle Waterson about said post, which then Michelle Waterson went back. And then it started a whole thing on Instagram.
What don't you not do in this world? You don't talk about politics.
And then, bam, fight announced. I was like, ooh, that literally happened because of Instagram. Literally happened because they went at it on Instagram. Back and forth.
And they thought it was a good fight.
I'm entertained.
Whether or not Angela Hill should have won her last fight, that's debatable. But Michelle Waterson,
Angela Hill winning this one.
Michelle Waterson has lost her last 2 fights. The only way Waterson wins this fight is she needs to get it to the ground. Elect not to stand. Choose not to pass go and collect $200. And just go straight to jail and get the fight down to the ground.
But I just think that they legitimately do not like each other. And the weigh-ins are going to be uncomfortable. The fight's going to be uncomfortable. I just hope Angela Hill stays calm-ish.
Kind of.
And I have her winning this fight.
I have Angela Hill.
I have Angela Hill. Sorry, Michelle Waterson. I just got that way. So that was interesting. I had to touch on that one a little bit because I thought it was entertaining to me.
But that's really the only thing notable on this fight card.
It is.
Like, I mean, there's a couple good fights, but nothing to
Bellator beats the snot out of UFC this week on both fronts.
Absolutely agree with that.
Like, my goodness.
The back-to-back 2 nights, I will be glued to my TV set.
But what is it with I get that Mike Tyson has made it perfectly known that there's a Legends League coming on Triller or wherever else he's putting it on, and he's promoting that. So I guess that's where Chris Bird may end up.
Hey, you said his name.
Chris Bird posted on Instagram because, that's the new thing. Even
social media.
I still feel like we're shadow blocked somehow on growing our IG.
Can anybody help us get unshadow blocked on Instagram, please?
Can somebody help us? Just doesn't like us,
right? Because ever since UFC shut down our Instagram, I swear to God, we've been blocked like ever since. And if you guys don't know about that story, go ahead. We've discussed this before. UFC shut us down, so our name was out there, and UFC shut us down.
The little engine that could, apparently.
Right? Kept chugging. The train that could. But yeah, Chris Bird, 50 years old, announced that he's coming out of retirement.
And fighting wants to box at middleweight?
Bro,
like, when you sent me that video, I was like, wait, is that really Chris Bird?
But the thing is that he mentions that he's not doing this for the expedition. He honestly believes that he has a shot in middleweight because he says that he still has the slip. But it's going to be at middleweight, and I'm like...
And then he goes, look at this physique.
Look at this physique for a 50-year-old. But I was looking at that. Does he have a shot against a Canelo Alvarez? Hell no. Does he have a shot against Triple G? Hell no.
Hey. Why not throw it back? Why not Oscar De La Hoya versus Chris Bird?
Julio Cesar
47 and 50.
Julio Cesar Chavez says that he wants to fight Oscar De La Hoya. Why not? Why not? We're in the pandemic. This pandemic
Chavez
has
only said that he wants to box Oscar De La Hoya in an expedition.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Sean, this pandemic has literally screwed people's minds up. It has cost people their houses, their wives, their jobs, their girlfriends. It has apparently lost people's damn minds. People not showing up for work because they don't want to. People going on to social media saying, I'm going to fight at middleweight. I'm 50 years old. And yet you'll get destroyed by David Lemieux. Bro. These people, this pandemic
has people losing their damn minds.
Yes. I think all these people right now, they have COVID because they are seriously lost.
They're dazed and confused and they didn't even get knocked out yet.
I think that should be one of the underlying issues with COVID is stupidity and mind loss. It's like as if they got too many concussions
without receiving
and they have
one.
CTE via COVID. What the hell?
Hey, I guess
It turned people stupid.
I guess COVID suffocates the lungs, so I guess it cuts off oxygen
to the brain?
I guess.
That's the problem.
Not enough oxygen flow.
Yep. Not enough oxygen flow to the brain, thus causing stupidity. And on that note, we are your boys, and we are out of here. Until next time, Tristan Ducross, Sean Ducross. Thank you, everybody that's tuning into us. Smash that like button. Smash the popcorn. Passes the popcorn.
Donate.
Hit that donate button. Until next time, we're your boys. We're the Ducross Brothers, Sports Warriors, Sean and Tristan Ducross. Cross that line with us every Wednesday. Appreciate the love and respect. And everybody that tuned into us in the chat room. Love you guys. Until next time.
Let's get it on! Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.